You being good is the reason you're not great. It's not your schedule. It's not your job. It's not your genetics. It's damn sure not your potential. It's your comfort with being better than most that's stopping you from becoming who you were built to be. Let me explain. A year ago, I was good. I was a remote closer. I just traveled the world, brought my lady with me, was living that digital nomad life. I actually left the country, launched my own business. My physique was decent. You know what I'm saying? I had abs. They weren't like shredded or nothing crazy, but like definitely wasn't out of shape. Money was coming in. It wasn't life changing, but enough to flex a little bit. And by society standards, like I was winning. But deep down, like, when you by yourself, TV's off, you know what I'm saying, girls asleep, and it's just me and my thoughts. Deep down, I knew I was only tapping into like 40% of my real potential, if that. And that's the shit that ate me alive. It wasn't the failure, it wasn't the pressure, it wasn't the risk, but the fact that I knew that I could be great, but I was just settling for good. Because that's the trap. You know what I mean? Like when you're already better than most people, there isn't any type of emergency. You're not starving, you're not broke, you're not out of shape, you're fine. But that fine is just being content. And contentment is the enemy of greatness. You being above average is your prison. Because when your normal is already ahead of the crowd, it's easy to lie to yourself. It's easy to coast. It's super easy to cheat the system and to keep tapping in at 60% because your 60% fucking laps everybody else's 100%. So it's easy to settle for less or settle for just being above average because it doesn't take much for you. But we all know above average isn't really that impressive because average is fucking bare minimum. You know what I mean? Like, but eventually you feel that shit. There's like a slow erosion of the fire that you have inside. You have a gut feeling that's telling you you're playing small in disguise and that you're not maximizing, that you're just maintaining. You know what I mean? Like you don't feel elite. You just feel better than most people in the rooms you walk into. But the reality is you're probably not walking to any strong, powerful rooms. You know what I mean? And that's I say that because that's where I was. And that shit made me crash out. Like actually. Like being good almost destroyed me. Because I told you I left the country, I started my business, I was living in Colombia, started my online fitness business. I thought I was ready to lead, scale up and really do the entrepreneur thing. But the reality is like I didn't have the mindset. I didn't have the habits and I didn't have the discipline. I really just didn't have the internal structure to sustain that greatness. My identity wasn't that of a successful business owner. It was that of someone that was just kind of getting by off just being just good enough. You know what I mean? Like I was just good enough, even on the sales team. Like I was making decent money, but I wasn't the best on the team. But I was just good enough to kind of stick along and be solid. Same with my physique, my like even playing college football. Like I wasn't like the star, I wasn't the guy, but I was good enough to be on the team to play. You know what I mean? So like I was kind of just getting by off that and thinking the same thing was gonna happen with this business. And that shit did not fucking work. I failed. And the only way to really fail in life is to give up. And that's exactly what I did when shit hit the fan. And we all know adversity is a perfect opportunity to really meet who you really are. And in the face of adversity, I curled up. I went the other way. I said I wasn't good enough for it. And it's because at the core root of my identity, I wasn't that of a successful business owner. I wasn't that person that has the right mindset, that has the right discipline, that has the right just internal self-belief to keep going despite what the reality is showing them. I wasn't there yet. And ultimately, I went back to the corporate world with my tail tucked in between my legs. But when I got back in the system, like that's when shit shifted. I wasn't the fucking same. Like I had a chip on my shoulder now. I had more urgency. I saw the vision. Like once you get a taste of the good life, when you get a taste of what you want to do, it's hard to settle for anything less. It's hard to go back and just be okay with it. Because I knew deep down I was built for more. Being built for more doesn't matter until you actually fucking build it. And that's when I stopped being okay for just being above average. I stopped being proud of being ahead of people who didn't even want the same shit that I wanted out of life. And I just restructured everything. My discipline, my identity, my standards. I didn't want to be good anymore. I wanted to be undeniable. And the mindset shift is essentially from, just being an achiever to being a beast or being a savage, being whatever fuck you want to call it. But there's a version of you that gets shit done no matter what. There's a version of you that doesn't care if he's already doing better than most people. There's a version of you that doesn't skip workouts because he's already in shape. He doesn't settle for a business that's kind of profitable. He doesn't take days off from growth just because he's making six figures. That version of you holds himself to elite standards. That version competes with the world class. Matter of fact, he doesn't even compete with anybody because he's in a lane of his own. But if he had to compare himself to anybody else, it would be other world class people. It would be other elite people, the best in the world, because that's how serious that person takes himself. That version of you that's already in there. And once you meet that version of you, it's impossible to unsee him. You can't, like, once you guys meet, you're going to remember that shit the rest of your life. It's going to be impossible for you not to. You can't go back to just being decent. You can't go back to just coasting. Because when you've tasted greatness, it ruins your appetite for anything less. And the reality is, you want to control your world. You want to control your reality. You want to live an autonomous life, but you can't control the world until you control yourself. And discipline is the ultimate flex. It's the invisible structure that makes all the actual visible wins possible. If you want a business that prints, if you want to walk into any room and own it, if you want to look in the mirror and feel respected by yourself, it starts with controlling your mind. It starts with controlling your routines, with controlling your urges, and controlling your emotions. Because until you can control yourself, the world will control you. Every opinion will shake you, every excuse will tempt you, and every setback will become a breakdown. And when you've mastered yourself is when you really can become unstoppable. Because you've built that internal connection with yourself. You know that if you say some shit, you're going to get it done because you've done it countless amount of times. Even if it's something as simple as going to the gym, waking up at a certain time, like taking a walk. It doesn't matter what it is. But when you have continuously said that you're going to do some shit and you fucking do it, your confidence builds through the roof. You have a certain type of groundedness within you when you walk into places. People can just feel that you're not trying to impress anybody. You're being yourself. You know, like people can feel the type of standards that you hold yourself to because nobody can treat you worse than you can treat yourself. You know, if you are constantly breaking commitments to yourself, then other people will be a lot more likely to because they see that's what you're okay with. But if they see you, somebody that's extremely disciplined, that lives by a certain set of rules that he's established for themselves, and no matter what's going on, he's going to get those things done. When people see that in you, they're going to have to approach you from a much higher frequency, a much higher place, because you clearly don't take shit from yourself. So why would you take shit from anybody else? You know what I mean? And that's what makes you unstoppable. Because being elite, being like at the top, it's not a mindset. It's a fucking lifestyle. Like most of you watching this are already doing well in life, but you don't want to do well. You want to be the type of man that other men study, not for motivation, but for instruction. You want every area of your life to look like it was crafted with a session. You know, your physique, your bank account, your relationship, your business, your energy. And that's what I'm helping people build now. Not just good lives, but elite ones. The type that demand discipline to the detail. The type that turn you into a weapon. The type that make average people uncomfortable being around you. And the last thing I'll leave you with is that you will never be great if good is still good enough. There's going to be a certain part of you that has to die. There's going to be a part of you that has to die. You have to kill the part of you that's impressed by being better than average. Because average is sick, it's soft, it's scared, it's slow. And if you build your identity on being better than most, you'll never step into the identity of someone who destroys average altogether. I stopped trying to be better than most, and I started becoming the kind of man that most people will never even fucking meet. And you can do the same thing. But it starts when you say, I'm done with being good. That version of me is dead. You have to completely cut ties with it and become elite and start identifying like that best version of yourself, because everything changes when you decide that good is no longer good enough. Are you ready to be great? Or are you going to keep flexing your 40%? The choice is yours.